we can clearly see the patterns, how each of these niches performing. And now we can clearly see and predict overall what's actually going to be the return on investment
Mm.
of the creator based on their niche, based on where their audience is located, based on the platform where we collaborate with, based on type of content that we are working on them with, based on their median views, like the most important, how much return on investment we actually can get after we pay the specific rate.
Welcome to Accidentally Influential, the podcast for educators, experts, and creators who never set out to become influencers, but did anyways.
I'm Kate.
And I'm T.
Together, we've built an audience of nearly 500,000 followers and secured over $700,000 in brand deals.
This is season 2, guys, and we've set out to help you land it. This is your step-by-step guide to pitching, pricing, and signing brand partnerships as an EDUcreator.
You might have become accidentally influential, but monetizing your platform, that part is intentional.
Let's get to work. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Accidentally Influential. We are so freaking excited for this episode. I don't know if you can hear it in in my voice right now, in which you hear Kate's voice. We are so excited because we are bringing on another guest from the brand side of brand partnerships. Our first guest was Noam from Taylor Brands back in episode 22, which is, I think, one of our most listened to episode.
As it should be.
Yeah, it is just absolute gold. But today Kate and I are bringing somebody that we both personally have worked with from a brand partnership perspective that sits on the other side of the table. And so we're super excited to introduce her and get into everything.
Our guest today, Yulia, leads influencer marketing and partnerships at Kittl, the AI-powered design platform based in Berlin. With 6 years in the space, she's personally worked with over 300 influencers. But you guys aren't ready for this. Spent over $3 million on creator collaborations.
Wild.
And build a profitable influencer marketing engine from the ground up. And she's going to talk about that origin story in the episode today. She is known for a deeply data-driven approach to the work, and she's part of influencer marketing communities across Europe and the US, so she's constantly swapping ideas and insights with other people in the industry. We are so excited to let you guys listen to this episode, and we hope you love it. Join us in welcoming Yulia.
Let's go. Welcome, Yulia. We are so excited to dive right into this episode. And to our listeners, if you guys have been here more than 1 or 2 episodes, you know our favorite question to open up with our guests on the show is, what is your most accidentally influential moment? So, Yulia, we would love to hear what yours is.
That's actually such an interesting question. And when I think about this, it's basically all of us, we're kind of influencers in our own way. So we influence people. But I do have my personal story that was very unexpected to me. So basically, back in 2024, I had a challenge for myself of running every day for 365 days.
Dang.
So I did this. It was actually very fun and hard at the same time because it's not about running. It's about discipline of going out every day and running. And then I was just posting about this on Instagram, just to stories, keeping this more as my tracker to keep track of how many days am I actually running already in a row. And then, I completed this challenge. I forgot about it. I went about my life. And then 6 months later, I received a tag on Instagram stories from someone. I opened this story and then I see that the girl that was following along my journey, she started doing this challenge, and by this 6-month mark, she completed it. So she was also doing this for the entire year. And for me, that was such a big moment when I realized that sometimes you can also influence people in such an interesting way without even knowing this. So that was kind of my thing.
That's actually so cool.
I know. Kate's drooling at the mouth over here.
I'm
running
every day.
Yeah, you're
I want to
join.
I'm Yulia, you might have influenced me. Maybe that's my next challenge.
I love that
I would
story.
really recommend. Maybe trying for 30 days, but just do it. It's really fun.
That's amazing.
I feel that's the coolest thing about social media sometimes is you're putting yourself out there, you're putting your what you're doing, who you are, and you got one message from somebody, but there's probably so many more people that were inspired in some way, shape, or form of that. And you'll never know. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I'm curious, Yulia, can you kind of walk us through how you ended up in the world of influencer partnerships? Like, how did you become an influencer manager?
That was actually super random because I was still at the university and
Okay.
I just wanted to make my own money. So I started looking for some jobs and then I found one that was called like research analytic. And then what you
Mm,
need to do, you just need to be able to research and analyze data. And I was like,
Okay.
sounds very
check.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I applied, then we had an interview, and in the end, it was influencer marketing. Um,
Oh,
so that's how I got into the space.
Yeah.
And I really loved it because I was interested in social media overall. And especially what I liked about this industry is that you have both creative parts of the work that you do every day and then also the analytical.
Hmm.
mm,
So combining both, I think that's something that makes it pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome. How long have you been at Kittl for?
At Kittl specifically, I've been for almost 4 years
Yeah.
already.
Okay.
Wow.
Gosh, that's so
I keep
cool.
saying that's kind of like a long-term relationship already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Kittl.
Yeah. I
That's
mean, you
amazing.
know the company so well at this point, and like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so we really want to like get right into the juicy stuff. We would love to know a little bit more about your role specifically as like, you know, managing creators and partnerships and what that looks like from the inside at Kittl. So how do you think about working with creators when it comes to part of like Kittl's marketing strategy? What is like, how do you think about that?
So with creators, we started working almost from the very beginning of Kittl journey. So I joined when we were like 25 people at all.
Wow.
We had less than 100,000 users on the platform. Now we have over 11 million creators using Kittl
Wild.
daily. So and influencer partnerships actually being a pretty important part of this growth. Pretty quickly we found our niche. We found what type of creators work, and then we just scaled
Mhm.
with that. In just 1 year, we grew 10x through influencer collaborations. And just because we were always approaching influencer collaborations not just as like one-off thing, but more like a strategy. So
Mhm.
I think that's pretty important to have both strategy and also data set up. As you will hear more and more in this podcast probably is that I'm like really super data driven person. I really look into the data and analyze it before making a decision. And I think that's exactly what helped also to grow this program in a way that it is today. Um, so yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
My
amazing.
jaw is like on like I feel like obviously I've partnered with Kittl for years. T,
Mhm.
you've also partnered with Kittl, but I knew that Kittl has grown and like developed as a
Yeah.
tool over all this time, but hearing you say like the amount of users it's grown by, that is crazy. Like
That's
the impact of influencer marketing
yeah.
is wild to me.
Yeah.
I always
It's
say that it's like a mix of product plus
yeah.
marketing.
Yeah.
And just influencer marketing is one of the not easiest parts, but one of the most impactful because influence is already like in the
Mhm.
name of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
approach. So without product market fit, you will not have an explosive growth through influence
Mhm.
collaborations. That's why
Yeah.
it's so important to really take care of the product first
Mhm.
and then layer the influencer marketing on top of that.
Yeah. That's so good. This question is totally offbeat, but it's just like my personal business brain wanting to know. But like how when you say like product development, how much of like the product development is informed by like you mentioned you found your niche and kind of like you're like we're going to run with that. How much does that audience inform the direction of the tool versus the direction of the tool informing what niches you guys kind of enter in?
I think like it really depends like per each brand, but for us it was very important just because it's important to hear what the audience says.
Mhm.
And influencers, first of all, are actually your users.
Mhm.
The way I see this is like the perfect collaborations are when you're not selling the product, but you're just using it yourself, and then you're just showing to your community how you use it and why you
Mhm.
use it. that's like the perfect combination for this collaboration.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like really important to hear what creators are saying in their videos when they're talking about the product. That's why sometimes, like when I'm watching the drafts from influencers before they publish, I'm like, this is like really interesting comment that you said about that you are, for example, going to another platform just to do the small thing. It's either that you didn't know maybe, or like it was just hard to search on the platform how to do this in like native way. And that's why I will just tell you next time, just use this feature. It is based here. Or search for it. Or if you don't have this, then I immediately just drop the note in the Slack channel, just saying to the team, hey, this influencer said about this, would be cool to have it. Can we do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
But
love
also
that.
it's about like prioritization for the entire company. And like,
Yeah.
I think it's like the, obviously it's important part of prioritization. What should be done after what when developing the product.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, hearing feedback is pretty important, but then
Yeah.
also to your roadmap is important as well.
Right.
That's so cool. I
So
just
I,
go
I know.
ahead.
I like feel like
Like a
we could
million
just talk about
questions.
Kittl all day, like pick
I
Yulia's,
know.
especially because you were there from like the ground. I mean, from really like when the company was so
Yeah.
small to really watching it grow. It's just we could pick your brain all day, but obviously we need to, for our audience, talk to you about
I
the
know.
creator side of things.
Yeah.
So
Can I just make one point really quickly, just to
yeah,
the audience? Like you might hear all of that and you're like, okay, cool. But like, I want you guys to listen through everything she said through the lens of like Kate and I always preach partnerships, partnerships, partnerships. Like you are not, when you are working with a brand, you're not just creating a one-off video. Like there's so much more to the relationship when it comes to brand partnerships than the exchange of a single video. And so like as you're listening through like what Yulia just said about how so like even what you put in your video could inform like the direction of a tool, like that is a true partnership. And when you learn to approach brand relationships from that perspective, your entire world will open and you'll be able to serve brands so much better. And the partnership will reward you as well.
I think that's a huge point to bring up. Huge,
I'm so
huge,
happy
huge.
you said this. Yes,
Yeah.
it's so true.
So I guess thinking about the evolution of Kittl, how has your, I guess, relationship with creators evolved? Obviously, I'm sure you're working with more creators now and things like that, but has the type of creators you're sourcing, like just talk a little bit about how that's changed over time.
Yeah. So actually, this part almost didn't change at all, but I think because I had pretty good foundation for this, and like some of the most basic things that are still being true up to this day. So what exactly I mean by this is that first of all, you need to obviously know your product and know your target audience, and based on of this, you understand where to search for your creators and how to actually identify who would be a perfect fit for you and who would be maybe as a like not the second choice but someone who you would test a little bit further down the line. So searching for creators as it was before, as it is now, the manual research is always the best when you just organically see creators on your feed because your algorithm already knows. But then once you go into the profile, the first thing that I really see is just overall if there's a community or not with this influencer. I think that's one of the most important things that none of the tools that are currently, there's tons of them on the market, can actually analyze. There's like really so much information when you go into the comments, and then you really see if this creator has your community there, if it's engaged, if it's real people, not just people who are emojis.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty important. But obviously, like, first of all, like it's demographics as well, checking what the audience is, where they are based, if it's your target audience or not, if they're potentially interested in your product or not. Then if we are talking about the metrics a little bit more already here, then it's the median views. I think that this is one thing that changed over these 6 years that I have experience doing influencer marketing. At the beginning, obviously, when I just got into the space, I was looking at the followers count and I was like, wow, I have
Yeah.
million followers. That's so crazy. Now, the times changed, obviously. The platforms changed as well, the algorithms, everything changed. So that's why now, also talking to other people in the industry, like it's not only my take on this, but almost no one cares about followers anymore, unfortunately, for creators. But I obviously still, it's such an amazing milestones when our creators achieve them. It's still like amazing and really like worth celebrating. But unfortunately, or luckily, maybe for you as well, the brands now care mainly about the median views on the videos
Yeah.
or on the posts, depending on what type of assets they're looking for.
Yeah. We've thought about that a lot. I feel like even when I started content creation, I had this like, I don't know, in my head, followers was what you were
Totally.
chasing. And then you realize that that's actually not what you need to land brand partnership. It's like, how engaged is your community? Do people trust the products you're recommending? Like, are your videos reaching new audiences? And that's definitely something we've talked about in earlier episodes on the podcast too.
And if I can say like one thing is that probably there's some creators who want to create pretty niche content, but then they think that they will not get any brand sponsorships just because they will have like pretty low reach. It's not true completely. Trust me, there's always going to be a brand who would be searching for these niche influencers, just because then they know that you actually have the most concentrated audience.
Right.
And that's like way better than to collaborate with you than with someone who has like 500,000 views per video, but none of them is actually your target viewers.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's
Yeah.
really a really good point.
Yeah. I actually love that you said that because Kate and I say that in different variations, like so many times on this podcast, because I feel like there's this like goal on TikTok, at least, like I need to hit 10,000 followers. I need to hit 10,000 followers. And people are like gunning for that goal without really like having any sort of strategy along the way. Like they're just like the followers, you know? And we've said so many times that sometimes like an audience of 2,000 to 3,000 followers can like land a more substantial brand partnership than somebody with 50,000 followers because of how they built that audience, because of, you know, the engagement that they've fostered in that audience, the trust they've fostered, and like what you just said, like being super niche. And so there you have it, guys. Heard it from the mouth
From the
of
source.
an absolute expert in the field. So boom.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, I guess, sourcing creators, like actually landing creators, like how that process works, because some of our followers or listeners to the podcast have never been through this experience before. And I think hearing it from a brand side is super impactful. So, what happens when you get an inbound pitch from a creator? Like, is this common? You're smiling. So I'm
You're like,
thinking,
let's
yes, you're
go.
like, let's get into it.
yeah, inbound pitches. So I receive like maybe 5 to 10 per day on
Wow.
average.
Yeah.
But like what I realized, not realized, but like what I just overall see is that most of them are just mass outreach. And most probably 80% of those are just scammers or just spammers. What I mean by this is that if you would really open my inbox, you would see that I have maybe like 5, 7 emails coming almost at the same time with the same structure of the subject, with the same structure of the body of the email. So it's literally the same. So now I can just quickly just open and close because I know
Right.
Yeah.
just scammers.
Interesting.
It never occurred to me that like brands get scammers too. Like we get them all the time, but that's interesting.
And I
Okay.
actually have a interesting story that I opened one of these emails. It was slightly different from all other emails, and I was like, okay, interesting, because it was completely perfect type of channel that I would love to collaborate with. But then the interesting part is that the email that was in the bio of this channel and the email from which the speech was sent were different. But I don't know why and how, but my intuition was like, just reply to this. So what I did, I replied back to this email and also CC'd the email of the creator that they had in their bio, just so that they would be aware that if it's like actually a scam or someone like trying to make me think that they're like this influencer, that this influencer would know that this person is impersonating them. So I replied back, and then this creator got back to me, and actually it was the legit creator. And now we have active partnership. We have amazing projects going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the start.
Man, I thought that was going to go the other
I
direction.
know. I was
Yeah.
like, this ends with an FBI chase. No,
Yeah.
That is crazy though.
It's crazy. Yeah. That's
It
pretty
is
it's I
pretty
love your
crazy.
intuition. Like, you've done this so often, like, that intuition nudge is that's pretty cool. So, I mean, you kinda touched on what immediately makes you close an email from, like, a repetitive scammer standpoint, but, like, when you know, like, a legitimate creator is reaching out, like, what are kind of, like, the top 1 to 3 things that you're, like, immediately you're turned off by or just makes you close the email?
Yeah, as I mentioned, like it's probably when I understand it was just a part of the mass outreach
Mhm.
when an influencer reaches out to me, but they like there is no connection between this influencer and our brand. So also another like small story, like I probably have lots of
A
stories now.
ton of
Love
them.
them.
Same.
Um, but like I had different influencers who are making videos about building stone houses. So like
That
they
was their
have like
niche.
very amazing channel
Yeah.
on YouTube, a lot like a high engagement. It's really amazing, but it's stone houses and a
Yeah.
web-based design platform. I mean, I'm a pretty creative person. I can think about ways to integrate, but I just
Yeah.
understand that they don't have our target audience. So for me, it just shows that lots of influencers, they probably try to send lots of emails to lots of brands, maybe not even seeing like to whom they are sending those, maybe using some tools. And that's why for me, it's kind of like, okay, they will not even notice that I didn't reply back to them. So,
Mhm.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
really interesting. Yeah, definitely look for tool and we talk about this all the time, but like alignment is a huge part
Yeah.
of finding brand partners, especially that lead to retainer partnerships, is like finding brands that you can naturally integrate in your content that you're probably already using that you want to recommend because you know your audience is going to use them too. That is
Yeah.
like you should start there. That if there's not brand alignment, it's probably not a good fit for a partnership.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think that, like I think when it comes to newer content creators, like, there's like we said at the beginning of the podcast, like, there's a misconception that the transaction is for the video, but, like, what brands are actually buying into is the overlap between their target audience and your target audience, and so, like, if that doesn't exist, like, brands don't wanna buy a video, like, that's not the product that they're buying, that's just the medium that you're delivering what they actually want, and so I think that's just a really great reminder that it's not just about a video to 100,000
Yeah.
followers or whatever it is, so
Yeah. So when we think about obviously we have you get inbounds from people who are pitching you, but when it comes to actually sourcing creators, I know you touched on this a little bit where you do this organically just by like scrolling through your feed. Can you walk us through like what avenues you use to source and how you like look to find people for campaigns?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually love this topic just because I was really deep into that, trying to search like for different ways how we can actually find
Mhm.
the influencers that would be perfect for a specific campaign, for a specific, I don't know, type of partnerships. And over these really 5, 6 years that I was trying to find the best way, manual sourcing is still the best. And what I mean by this is that like I've tested so many tools, maybe like more than 10 already at this point, and like really proactively, and they just don't really give you the results that
Mm,
y- you were hoping for, and like the results that would actually help you source faster and better. Just because for us, like it's really important to find the creators fast for some time sensitive campaigns, for example. So the way I search is like, first of all, using the keywords. So, for example, when we have a campaign, we understand what target audience is for this campaign, and then we typically know what they would be searching online. And that's why we are thinking as if we are this target audience, what would
mhm,
be searching on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube? What type of tutorials, what type of information, maybe just on internet, what would I ask? For example, how to create a logo for my brand
mm,
or how to create print on demand designs for my
mhm,
new shop that I just opened. And then I just go there and see who actually created the video on this topic already. Because
yeah,
it's always the best when you can clearly see who would be the perfect for this collaboration because they already do this type of content. So you don't need to teach them on how to create this content. This is like so important that typically brands are searching for creators who already create the content that they want to see for their brand as well. And we really choose those creators with whom we are super aligned on how they structure their content, how they talk to their audience, because we just simply want to integrate the brand into that video. We don't want to completely change it. We don't want to give you like a super strict brief that would then will make the video completely different.
Yeah.
Your style at all, because then your audience will watch it and they will be like, it's not Kate, it's not Tay, like it's
Right.
completely not you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just from there, I also like for searching for more creators, like the perfect one that I found, I just go to the recommended videos that are similar on YouTube, for example. If it's on Instagram or TikTok, you can see the recommended profiles. Also, you can go into the followings of this influencer because they might be also following other people in the same niche. So yeah, you're playing a detective basically at this point.
Right.
Yeah. That's cool. I feel like, I don't know, Kate, I just feel like we're hearing things that like we did this episode, it was episode 1 of season 2, where just like 5 things that you are doing or could be doing that is basically like doing a brand partnership, but it's not a brand partnership, you know? And one thing Yulia mentioned was just like having a certain type of content that a brand can literally just like drop themselves in. And I like that could be a strategy, or it's just like your organic type of content, you know? Like one thing, if Kittl is like a brand that you're like, man, Yulia is amazing. I just checked out this tool and like I love this, and like Kittl's on your bucket list of brands to work with, like creating content that, you know, inherently incorporates a design tool that, you know, an AI design tool, a template-based design tool, whether it's Kittl or not, it's just like you're creating that space for the brand so that, you know, when Yulia is going and scanning content, it's just like that already exists. It's such an organic, natural leap to work with you. And it's definitely a strategy when you're trying to partner with brands like this.
Yeah. And I think especially showing very niche things within these tools. Like I can remember early on in my like content creation journey, I had a video. This was before Kittl and I ever partnered. I think maybe I was an affiliate for you guys, but I'm not even confident about that because I was so green in this. But I made a video and I think it was like these like retro character tees are like popping off on Etsy. And Kittl is like one of the only places that has templates where you can actually make these. And it got like, I don't know, like over 100,000 views. And once again, I'm brand new to this and I'm like, whoa. But I think that's how you guys found me, was because I was like making a video about a very, very, like, if you want this style, this is the only tool that has it. But there's other things like you could do. If you want to make a video mockup for your Etsy shop, this is like the feature in Kittl that allows me to do that. If you want to make lifestyle mockups, like there's so many small things that don't overlook making a video about the small things.
This is like, that's why I really love working with you guys, because you are just so amazing in making the content that is so interesting to watch. And also from the marketing perspective, I understand that it's going to be really impactful on the audience that's going to watch this video as well. And you just did it so effortlessly. I don't know, maybe behind the scenes it's really hard to create this, because I tried to create the content. It's really hard for me. Just want to know like what you're going through, and not asking about any revisions or anything at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just do this amazingly well. And I think it's also important, maybe if you're a creator and you're making some ads for brands, trying to make them organic, but still try to learn a little bit about marketing psychology, about psychology of selling something. But important is that you really need to be super aligned with the product. You really need to feel like you would recommend it to your best friend. It's something that you really want to recommend, and not just make a video because you're being paid for it.
1,000%. Listen to that again if you didn't just hear that. Like that's how you find longevity in this career too. Like if you are just slinging every product that comes into your inbox, or every tool that's like, hey, we'll pay you to promote this on your pages, like you're not going to have a very long life as a content creator, because your audience is not going to continue to buy into the content you're making.
Yeah. Yeah, that frequency, like, I always hate using that word, like, frequency. It feels very, like,
I
woo-woo, but,
love
like,
it.
I know
I
you do,
love it.
Kate.
I'm like, keep using it.
You're like, "Frequency." But it's, like, it's legitimate, like, that it comes like, your belief and, like, enjoyment in something and conviction in whatever you're selling, like, it comes through. Not like, it comes through in every word you say, every video, and, that's what you wanna see for stuff to perform well and for your audience to continue to trust you.
If I can add to this point, just a super quick thing is that also what I'm typically checking with the creator for the first time when we are working with them is how many ads do they actually upload per week, for example, or per
Mm,
day sometimes even, and what type of brands they are working with. Because if they are working with all sorts of brands and they post 2 ads per day, for example, sometimes that also happens. For me, it just shows that the creator is not that loyal. And like, while I still
mhm.
maybe can test, but I already, like, based on my experience, I can already predict it's not gonna be like a fruitful and long-term partnership. Maybe just one-off thing where I still give it a chance, but it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Um, so having like being loyal to the brands you actually want to work with and keeping the consistency of the type of content that you are creating, at least like niche, or if not the niche, because now I know also there's a huge trend of not being the niche, but just becoming the niche
Hmm.
yourself as a
Yeah.
person. Just being true to yourself. I think that's something that your community and also brands will actually feel when landing on your channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Great
don't know.
points.
That just gave me, like, anxiety thinking about posting 2 ads a single day. Like, could you imagine, Kate?
I
I was
mean,
like,
there's some like TikTok shop creators who are posting like 15 videos a day. And I'm like,
"That's
how do you
true."
do that? Like,
Yeah.
actually, how do you have time to do that?
Yeah. I don't know. That's just good on them,
That's
but
why I'm not a
yeah,
TikTok
that's
shop
why
creator, clearly.
I'll stick with my, like, 1 ad every, like, 1 to 2 weeks
Yeah.
because,
With like
alri
the partners that I know and love and
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
the exact same partners every single time. My
Exactly,
community's like, oh,
exactly.
Kate's talking about Kittl again because
Yeah.
she loves it.
Yep,
Surprise.
exactly. Alright, so, man, we could just, like I wish we had, like, an hour for every section of this podcast, but, we should probably move on, and we wanna get to something that I think is gonna be genuinely eye-opening for everybody listening, because creators have absolutely no idea how brands think about or calculate pay, like, just no idea. And I could say that with confidence because I had no idea. Like, I was that creator early on. That looked at my follower count and I was like, "Yeah, like, look at this. Like, you should probably pay me a lot of money." Have grown a lot since then, and so are all of you guys. So we're gonna dive into a little bit of that in this section. So Yulia, when you're thinking about bringing on a creator for a partnership after kind of the whole scoping and all of that we talked about, what are some specific metrics that matter to you, matter to Kittl? And can you walk us through them in order of importance if that's possible?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the most important, like what we already talked about, is just basically what audience do you have, like the demographics. That's why, I mean, there's like obviously now lots of tools that are already giving you some information about this, like for brands, I mean. But if creator also shares this from their internal sets, that's always the best thing because that really impacts overall where the rates will go because there are different tier markets, and tier one market audience is basically one of the most important for brands in terms of the power, like of the buying power. So that's like one of the most important things first, the demographic. Um, the second thing is what I also mentioned previously is the median views. It's basically we need to predict what is the expected reach on our ad. So we are buying both your influence and the exposure at the same time. So that's why the third part also is the potential to influence the audience. That's the engagement rates, that's the quality of the comments. If people are actually asking any questions or answering like something in the comments, if there's actually community, when people are helping each other. So that's also a pretty important part. So like when I see that the creator has actually higher level of community, then they have even like higher potential to get higher rates. That's like about these top 3 basic things typically check. But then obviously there's so many different factors.
Yeah.
And it is so different per each industry, per each brand. Because we can dive into this maybe, but there's like different types of how you can actually
Yeah.
figure out what rates would be the most fair for both sides to proceed with for the collaboration.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How on like the brand side? So obviously creators can calculate the rates certain ways. How on a brand side do you measure if a campaign was successful or produced the result you think you wanted it to? Like, are there specific metrics that you're looking for or measurements or calculations that you run?
Yeah, so it's also like pretty different. But I think it just overall for most of the brands, it comes from the budget that was given to you to invest into influencer collaborations. Then you go there, you do collaborations, and that's why during these collaborations, what's really important for influencers most of all as well is to use the tracking links that the brands are actually sharing with you and use the promo codes that are being shared with you, because these 2 things are the most important when we actually go back after like having a campaign together with all creators and then analyze how actually it went. These UTM links through these affiliate links as well. This is like the same type of like
Yeah.
links. And through the promo codes, we can actually see the impact and we can see what's the return on investment. And typically we are trying to get 2 or 3x ROAS, which means like we would get like 2 times more than what we invested. Because then it makes it sustainable for us to continue with doing partnerships and collaborations with the same influencers that we worked with and explore even more. So it's always about like the win-win,
Yeah.
or at least to break even. That's like the the lowest where we could go, and that's why, like typically at the beginning, like just to go into a little bit more of this topic, at the beginning when you don't know actually how this niche might perform, most probably you are gonna use CPM as the metric to actually calculate how much actually the industry average is for this type of collaboration with this type of brands. It's really different for each niche. It's different for each channel, for different platform. So there's no unique thing. That's why like the brands are doing the survey every 6 months or every 12 months at least to get overall the feeling from the industry. Where are we going? Are we going higher? Are we going lower? Are we going in more CPM into this format, into that? But it's like it's just for the brands who just didn't have any collaborations before. They're using CPM model. For us here at Kittl now, as I mentioned before, we are super data driven here as well. We have the data from over 7,000 posts at this point from different niches, different channels, different types of creators, different placements. Either it is a fully dedicated video or it's an integration, if it's pre-roll or mid-roll, like all of the small things. And then thanks to like AI now, and just overall, even before that, we were using just, the sheets and calculations and everything else. We can clearly see the patterns, how each of these niches performing. And now we can clearly see and predict overall what's actually going to be the return on investment of the creator based on their niche, based on where their audience is located, based on the platform where we collaborate with, based on type of content that we are working on them with, based on their median views, like the most important, how much return on investment we actually can get after we pay the specific rate.
Yeah.
So this is how we come up with the calculation. We just already have our conversions-based calculators built in. We just put the parameters there, and it just gives us like the range. And that's how we go about negotiating the price.
Man,
Interesting.
what I would do to like get my hands into all of that and just like she's like, yeah, I'm a people analytics in my like professional world. Like I do a lot of like predictive analytics and all of that stuff. And so it's just like so interesting to me. And what you said that like every brand kind of has their, I mean, I feel like there's an overarching understanding of a successful campaign and successful creator, but like every brand has their own approach, their own algorithm, how they calculate everything. And it's so important so interesting to like hear that. I just thank you so much for sharing it. We did want to talk about CPM specifically because I don't think like a lot of creators have ever even heard of CPM or know what it means, or that's something that brands even consider when it comes to pay. And then for other creators, like I would love to like demystify that a little bit. So anybody that doesn't know what CPM is, it stands for cost per mil, which actually Kate and I had to look up how to pronounce that because we're like, is it mile? Is it milli? Is it
Because
mil?
everyone just says CPM, and
Yeah.
you like
We're
you
like,
know
we
what
gotta say it right.
CPM is, but we're like, what does
Should
the
we-
M
we should
actually
check.
stand for?
It's so funny. Which it basically just means like cost per 1,000 views, essentially. So the way it works is like in a creator partnership, a brand takes the rate that they're paying a creator, divides it by the expected number of views, which is kind of what Yulia just went through. They have like a predictive algorithm to assess that, and then multiply it by 1,000. So for brands paying $2,000, for example, for a video, they expect math 100,000 like 100,000 views. We might need to check the math, but that's kind of like how brands are using CPM. And so that's a $20 CPM. So Yulia, is like CPM, like you mentioned that CPM is more so for campaigns that were like testing out this niche. Is that like, do you talk to your creators about CPM? Is that part of the negotiation process? Like how big of a piece is that to the puzzle with like most creators that you're working with?
It's actually a very interesting question because I tested both ways.
Mhm.
One way when we don't share exactly how we came up with this rate, and another way when we actually share how we came up with this rate. And it just really doesn't make any difference, unfortunately. I mean, of course, like it depends on the creator with whom you're talking about. But sometimes, like, and this is like important thing because I think lots of creators, they really think about the brand and like negotiations with the brand representative as if we're like their enemy and that we are trying to lowball them, or that we think that their content doesn't worth this rate that we like that they want to share with us. So I think it's also pretty important from the brand side to start educating a little bit influencers, especially since there might be lots of like new beginner content creators, and important also to have like the great first experience in having brand collaborations, and for brands not to leverage this lack of knowledge from creators. That's why I think like I always feel super excited when it's my like when I know that this collaboration is the first ever experience for creator, and I'm trying to make it as perfect for them as possible, just so that they know that it actually can be amazing partnership.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of like trying to maybe sometimes explain how we came up with this rate, but then it's really probably about the self-esteem of content creators and about how they perceive the rate, because it's important also to understand that there can be like so many different brands reaching out to the same creator and they share different rates. And that's why maybe like you can also, I don't know, share with me here your opinion on that. But I think like some creators, after receiving one huge offer from the brand, like 5x more than anyone else, they really try to think that this rate is now their standard.
Yeah.
They will say, yeah, once I had the deal that was worth this much, that's why I'm not going to go lower than that. But then I'm really curious, are you like getting other sponsorships, or like you just need to go back to like normal rates?
Yeah.
I think something to keep in mind too is like there's a lot of people don't understand the difference between like where your base rate typically starts versus once you start adding in exclusivity, once you start adding in ad rights, once you start adding in like link in bio for a certain number of days, or pinned posts or story posts. Like just because your rate with one brand gets up to a certain position, that package probably had a lot more built in than just your standard base rate actually has in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we go over in episode 5, the 4R methodology to like build out your rates. That's kind of just how we talk through creators, thinking through how they pitch rates. So you're not just throwing out wild ball numbers to brands.
Yeah.
But like Yulia talked so much about like the relevance piece and the demographics, and she even mentioned like tier 1, tier 2 audiences. And like I'm even relatively new to that language too, and I would just love to spend a whole episode on that. But like even just the relevance piece of your rate could create a massive range in terms of like how much a brand is going to pitch you and how much a brand is willing to pay you. And like even between like Kittl and a maybe neighboring competitor, that can range so much, let alone a brand that is like not even similar to each other. And so I think that is such an amazing point that you brought up, because it's just, like that's why understanding what goes into your rate and understanding the value that you're bringing to a brand with a partnership is so, so important.
Yeah. I mean, T and I have talked on this podcast openly before. Like my highest paid video, like if you look at the video, the most I've ever made from one brand partnership was $18,000. But that wasn't actually just for a video. Like there were so many ad rights worked into there, plus the extended ad rights. Like the ad was run like so long and to so many new audiences that like that's how I got to that rate. But I'm not going to every new brand now and being like, yeah,
Hey.
my rate for one video is $18,000. I would not land a single brand deal if that's
Yeah.
like what I was pitching, just because that's not my rate. That's just where I ended up on one very specific campaign with a bunch of very specific deliverables that was needed. So
And honestly, like just to add here, I think it's important for creators to also think about actually long-term partnerships. Just because you might have one-time collaboration with a brand and get paid like, I don't know, 15, 20,000, but that's it, because then they will see like, okay, it didn't actually become profitable, and that means that we cannot collaborate anymore, because we simply cannot really justify the budget to put into this collaboration. But
Yeah.
then if you will collaborate with another brand, like for example on like $2,000-3,000 per video, and this collaboration will run for multiple years even, but it was the perfect fit for you, for your community, for the brand. And then, as you mentioned, they might put also the ad rights as well, or any exclusivity or anything else on top, is gonna be like compounding so much over the time. So that's gonna be even more profitable for you, or like more, not profitable for creators,
Yeah.
I'll just say this,
yeah.
but more financially able for you to proceed with a lower rate with this brand.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, long-term partnerships are actually the best, probably,
Yeah.
when it
They
comes
are.
to partnerships at all.
They
Yeah.
absolutely are. We talk a lot on this show about taking yourself seriously as a creator, and that means setting yourself up like a real business.
That's why we're really excited to be partnering with Taylor Brands. They're an all-in-one platform that helps creators and entrepreneurs like you and me form their LLCs and get their business organized.
When T and I decided to make Not an Influencer Creator Agency official, we actually used Taylor Brands to form our LLC, and the process was honestly so simple.
We were able to file from our laptops at home in like less than an hour. They walked us through the entire process step by step, and we were able to track the status of our filing right from within our Taylor Brands dashboard.
Taylor also offers additional services like helping you get your EIN or set up your business bank accounts, so once your LLC is filed, you've got what you need to keep moving forward.
Plus, tools like their finance manager can help you track your income and expenses as you grow, which, let's be real, is the part most creators avoid.
If you're a content creator ready to treat your platform like a business, search Taylor Business Builder to get started today. So, Yulia, if you could say one thing to the entire creator industry, something that you wish more creators understood, what it's like to actually be on the brand side, what do you think that would be?
I would say, let me think about this for a bit.
I know. I'm like, what's one thing? You're like,
I've got
only
15.
one?
Okay. If I can say like two things. The first thing is super, super quick and easy. Please add email to your bio.
So good, yeah. We just
T
had like a
makes-
whole episode on that.
Yes.
He
like,
makes fun of me all the time because I didn't put my link in my bio until I had like, I want to say 30 or 40,000 followers. And we are always like, don't do what Kate did. Like, you idiot.
you cannot imagine how many there are like amazing collaborations that could have happened, but I just simply couldn't contact influencer, and then it didn't happen. I even left a comment on YouTube videos saying like, hey, please reach out to me. Here's
Let me pay you.
Yeah, where I'm trying to give you money and you
Yeah.
can't get in touch with them. That's a really good one.
Yeah. And the second, a little bit like longer, maybe, is just overall, like, as I mentioned, don't really think that the brand or like the person on the other side is your enemy. Like, we're all trying to really make a collaboration here where all of us is going to benefit. And when I say all of us, is a brand, you as a creator, and most importantly, your community. So really take care of your community. This is like so important. What sort of community you're growing there on your channel is gonna bring you to way higher places than you ever could think of.
Yeah. That's so good. It is really interesting, like the feel in like like creators versus brands. And I think there are a few things online that kind of like help aid that like feeling where it's like, we're underpaid. We're trying to get they're trying to get like as little out of, as much out of us as possible without paying us, like there's that
Yeah.
feel. And I just like, I don't understand why it feels like that. Like, I feel like I would love to figure that out, but I love that you said that because it's, there's a person when it comes to brands, there's a person on the other side of the email chain with you that is just like trying to do the best for you, trying to do the best for the business that they're representing on a budget that they've been given. It's just like, I feel like we need to keep the human to human understanding in the relationship, and it'll just serve both parties so much better.
Yeah. I also think that a lot of that comes from this place of like, there's a lack of education, there's a lack of information. Like, Yulia, what you're saying about how you try to do more education when you're like talking about rates or why rates are a certain way, or like, it's the reason we launched this podcast. Because when we
Yeah.
were first getting started, we were like, what's a media kit? What do you mean? What's an engagement rate? Like, I don't know where to find any of that information. So the more information like this becomes accessible, I think that also will help reduce that gap between influencers and the people who manage them.
Yeah. So what would be like if you could pick one misconception that you think like creators have about the industry that you could correct, that you wish you could correct, what would it be?
Misconception. Probably just thinking that there's already so many creators talking about this topic. No way I'm gonna break through this.
Mm.
Oh, trust me, I'm trying to search for more creators in the niche that's working perfectly for us because we want to scale, like, and grow our business, right? But then, like, it's still important for you to create the content that you really want to create because there's gonna be a brand who will reach out to you about the sponsorship because they are actually searching maybe daily, weekly, monthly, or maybe once a year. But they do this quick research on, or deep research on finding the creators in this specific niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a
I
good one.
love that. And that's what, like, it is not too late to get started as a content creator. Like, we tell people all the time, like, T and I didn't set out to become influencers, hence the name of the podcast. Like, we were passionate about our side hustles and made very transparent videos on the internet, sharing that experience with other people. And it has turned into this very lucrative way to serve our audiences and like just have fun making content, helping other people. So there's room for you. There's room for all of us, especially
Yeah.
in 2026.
Yeah, exactly. And this industry is growing. So definitely there's going to be a budget for this collaboration. But the most important probably is just to understand that like why brands are sponsoring your content because then they are also getting something out of it. And that's why it's a partnership when you partner up with someone. So try to think maybe a little bit outside of the box, how you can actually maybe do like a super small thing for like that is small for you, but it's going to be super big for another brand, like an extra story or like an extra mention or support them during the campaign, support them during the Black Friday campaign. Like all of the small things, we really remember them. And then we just really think of this influencer first when we think about the campaign.
Yeah. All right. So I wish we could stay here and talk all day, but we're going to move into rapid fire questions. Yulia, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Pitch email or DM pitch? Go.
Each email we literally leave in our inboxes, and also make sure to insert the links to your channels, because I don't want to go and search for channels for like 10 or 15 minutes to find your channels.
Yeah.
Love.
Good.
What is the biggest green flag in a pitch that makes you immediately interested?
When you're talking my language and include the data and analytics and everything is just in one email, and you actually understand how the brand is going to fit into your content and with your community that you have.
So
Love.
good.
I don't know what episode is it where we talk about.
We'll tag it below.
We'll
but
tag
that
it in
is
the show notes.
So
But we have
good.
an entire episode about what to include in your pitch emails, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
data that goes into them.
Yeah. All right. Number 3, the metric most creators obsess over that you care least about.
Follower count, super easy.
Yeah. What is something a creator has done in a partnership that genuinely impressed you without naming names?
Unless it's us. Just kidding. Sorry.
I mean, there's one creator I really, really love what he's doing. He's typically also mentioning Kittl in other podcasts or even in the GQ magazine, like in all sorts of publications. And I really appreciate it when there's actual partnership and like you just understand that this influencer actually cares about your brand and not just
Yeah.
about the collaboration and paycheck.
That, once again, alignment is so important. If this isn't a tool you wouldn't recommend to your friends and family, don't recommend it on your pages.
I love that. What's one thing a creator could do this week, literally this week right now, to make them more attractive to a brand like Kittl?
Think about their content strategy, like maybe what type of brands you actually want to work with, and then line up what type of content you would create and what you would share with the brand. Maybe if you have like your perfect dream brand, you would already create the free video for them. Basically follow the case strategy, how she did with Kittl. Made the video about it, then we spotted this, and then we collaborated, and now we have amazing partnership.
Yeah.
So yeah, just thinking about how the brand would search for you, probably.
I love that.
The
Yeah,
Kate strategy.
make the example video. Well, it's not even example videos. Like, just make videos about the tools you love. Like, that's how you ultimately land partnerships with those exact brands.
Yeah.
Like,
Plot twist.
This is also the thing, if I can share here, is that lots of influencers, for example, when they collaborate with the brand and after the contract ends, and like we also have this, buffer time when we need to analyze the performance, to see the next steps, maybe align with our internal strategy. And then if I see like, how to say this? If there's like the timeline after the contract ended and influencer didn't post anything at all about this brand, even though we partnered for like more than a year before that, for me, it just shows that they're gating up their content and they're not actually posting about the brand unless this brand pays them, which for me just shows that it was not the true partnership. It was just like the money exchange for content.
Yeah. I think that's really important to touch on is like, once again, the way we find retainer partnerships and partnerships that are so powerful is it's like, I can't talk about my business. I can't teach people how to start the business I do without showing these tools. Like, these tools are so integrated into my content that like I can't really make a video without shouting them out, which is the best thing. Like, and it's not like I never feel like, because that's going to come back to me, right? That energy you put out, the work that you're putting out there is going to return in the form of long-term partnerships. Like, these brands aren't just going to be like, well, she already talked about us, so we're just not going to pay her. No, that's not how this works.
Yeah. No, it's such a good point.
And maybe another super quick thing is that, for example, the best creators, obviously they are being approached by so many brands and probably so many different competitors in the same space. But if you already have like a partnership with one brand and you actually love them, but then another brand reaches out to you and offering such a huge amount of money for exclusivity deal, and you sign this contract with this competitor brand even without talking to the brand that you have actual partnership with, this is like bad actually. So like I would just really recommend check with the brands. Maybe they will offer you the same counter offer as well, or even something better. You never know, but it's worth thinking about the brand side as well. If you have with them already the long-term partnership, you already have relationship with them, it's worth just saying like, hey, I received this brand deal, like I'm thinking about taking this, but I also want to give you the opportunity to match this, or we can just.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. Like, I feel like sometimes people get so intimidated by negotiating, but I think that once again, it's like you have to have a relationship with brands where you know that your brand partners are also trying to help you. Like
Yeah.
it is a win-win. So if you have an offer that's better, like come to them and just be open and transparent. They understand you're running a business. We understand you guys are running a business. Like, is
Yeah.
there still a way to make this work? You never know.
You can't even imagine how many of us don't like negotiations as well.
You're
Parts of the job. So yeah.
Right.
The only person here that likes negotiating is Kate. She loves negotiations.
If I could buy a new car like every 6 months just so I could negotiate, I would, because I think it's so fun.
Yeah. It's
I think
so
it's
funny.
so fun.
Gosh.
Okay, last rapid fire question. Where can people find Kittl and learn more about how to work with you guys?
Sure, you can just Google Kittl.com, Kittl, and that's where you land on our platform. And on the platform, you can also search for affiliate program or for the influencer program that we're going to launch pretty much soon there. So yeah.
That's
Awesome.
awesome. Cool.
Yulia, thank you so much for
So
joining us
fun.
today. I feel like we could do a part 2 and a part 3. So
We might have to.
I was like, don't be surprised if we slide into your inbox again and ask you to come on the podcast. But thank you so much for sharing all of this. And I know this is going to be so valuable to the audience.
Yeah. I feel like these are gems, getting a perspective into the brands. Like we're just so grateful for your transparency and willingness to talk about this stuff.
I really appreciate your mission on educating creators. This is so important. All the brand managers, we are so thankful to you for all that you're doing here. So yeah, that was actually lots of fun for me as well. So thank you so much for having me.
Good.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
We will catch you guys next Monday for another episode of Accidentally Influential. In the meantime, don't forget to rate the podcast, share it with a friend, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.